Hi guys, Al DeMarco here, General Manager of the sites, and today I'm going to give you my version of bracketology. Forget about all the talking heads on TV, forget about all the radio pundits. Listen, one advantage as a handicapper that we have over all of them is that we have been following, the majority of us have been following every single college basketball team since the season started in November. I know myself, I have always believed that from a gambling perspective, you concentrate the most where the odds makers concentrate the least. So that is why you have repeatedly seen me win so many games in, for example, the Horizon League. I am the king of the Horizon League. So many games involving West Coast and Big West Conference teams. But again, the inherent advantage guys like me have when it comes to filling out the brackets is we are aware of those teams that won the automatic bid for their respective tournaments to get their entry punched into the dance. Those teams from Conference USA, from the MAAC, from the Colonial Conference, from the Big West, the West Coast Conference. Conferences that most people just don't pay attention to. Oh, they can tell you about the number 6 team coming out of the ACC, but they couldn't give you any idea of what the hell is Cal Irvine doing in a first round matchup with Louisville. That's an advantage that we have. Now, fact is, most of these teams are going to be one and done. They're going to get demolished in the first round. But every year there's going to be a couple upsets, and you've got to be able to find them. And occasionally these teams are going to get in the second round, and you've got to anticipate with your brackets where these teams are going to go. Now, another thing that I believe when it comes to doing your brackets, you've got to come out of the first round of play. Well, the second round of play, because we have the play-in games, are now the first round. The second round of play, when it's all said and done, you've got to have 23 to 25 winners. Because if not, the odds are just mathematically stacked against you for having enough teams to advance and to win out as the tournament progresses. So 23 to 25 is the magic number. 2 years ago, I had 27. Last year, I had 25. This is the way I look at the tournament, and this is how I break it down. So what would behoove you at this point is to make sure that you have my bracket right in front of you as we go through this tournament, as I'm going to spend a couple minutes giving you some of the key matchups, breaking it down. So if you haven't already done so, I'll take a minute. Go, download it. You'll get it in a PDF form here at the site along with the other handicappers brackets. Get it, and I'll be waiting for you. Come on, guys, really think I'm going to wait for you? Pause the damn button, go download the thing, and then hit play again and come on back. Let's get moving. Okay, four games I want to talk about before we go any further, okay? Just 4 individual matches. I'm going to tell you who's going to win, and then I'm going to tell you why it's so important that you concentrate on these games, or perhaps not concentrate on them. These matchups: West Virginia taking on Buffalo, Arkansas taking on Wofford, Northern Iowa taking on Wyoming, and Utah taking on Stephen F. Austin, who I think was played by Lee Majors in the $6 Million Man. Bottom line is this: West Virginia, coming from the Big 12, perhaps the best conference in basketball this year from top to bottom, is going to take care of business against Buffalo, coming from the Mid-American Conference. Nice for the Bulls that they won the damn thing, but it's a one and done for you guys. Arkansas. You take Arkansas, take the Razorbacks outside of Fayetteville, and you never know what you're going to get. But listen, they acquitted themselves well, obviously, in the SEC tournament, reaching the championship game before losing to Kentucky. But they were competitive in the game for sure. And I think that they certainly, with that brand of full court pressure that they're going to bring to the court, going to give Wofford problems. Wyoming, a team that is damn fortunate, thanks to an upset of Boise State and then the championship win for the Mountain West, to even be here in the postseason. Otherwise, they should have been in the NIT tournament, and my alma mater, Temple, more deservingly so, would have probably gotten a big dance bid. They're going to be taking on Northern Iowa. Now, one thing going against the Panthers is the fact that they are one of those teams that have not played for over a week and a half, because the Missouri Valley Conference tournament, of course, finished, March 9th or 10th. But Northern Iowa, a team that ducked nobody on their schedule this year, a team that can really grind you down defensively, is going to take on an offensively challenged Wyoming team that also likes to play great defense. Northern Iowa, however, has more scoring options and is the better team. They're going to win that game. In the final game, Utah against Stephen F. Austin. Seriously, do you really have to ask me why the Utes are going to win? Why did I want to give you these 4 games? Because all you heard on Sunday and all you were going to hear all week long are, oh, you got to be careful of the number 5 seed against the number 12 seed. Well, those were the games I just went through, guys. The 5 seed versus the 12 seed. West Virginia's not going to lose. Arkansas's not going to lose. Utah's not going to lose. And I think Northern Iowa wins. Forget about what you hear. Forget about, oh, the mythical 5 versus 12 seed. There's so much parity when you get after the first two lines of any bracket. First two lines and the bottom two lines of any field in any part of the bracket. In between, there's such parity. Please don't fall for the media hype. Listen, I'm going to break down the bracket each single round in regional, and I'll tell you the key games in each one of them. But it's not the 5, number 12. But every media guy this week, you're going to hear him just going on and on about the 5-12. Again, West Virginia, Arkansas, Utah, and Northern Iowa. I think all 4 5 seeds win. At least 3 out of 4 go. Okay, let's start in the Midwest Conference. Listen, when I fell at the brackets, I immediately put down all the teams that I like. Boom, 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 boom. And then I come back to the games that I'm not too sure about. And you know what? In the first round, I don't dwell on it. Again, I'm only looking for 23 to 25 winners to get through the first round. So out in the Midwest, we start the 8-9 game between Cincinnati and Purdue. There's a reason that the point spread in this game is 1 to 1.5 because it's a virtual pick'em game. It's a damn tough game. Listen, I'm going to go with Cincinnati in this particular contest on the bracket. But does it really matter? Because the winner's going to play Kentucky next, and the Wildcats are going to demolish them. Over and done with. Move on to the next game. 4-15. Or 4-13, the 4-13 meeting in this particular series. A lot of people look at Valpo and think that they can give Maryland some competition. Ain't gonna happen, and I am the king of the Horizon League guys here. Listen, you take the Crusaders off their home floor, and they struggled this year. You also have a Crusaders team that last played back on March 10th, okay? You have a Maryland team that is so tough defensively and has enough offense to take care of business against Valpo. Can they cover the spread? I don't know, but they aren't going to lose this damn game, and that's all that matters. 6-11, Butler and Texas. Again, a very difficult matchup. Rick Barnes probably needs another win to ensure his return to Austin, but the Longhorns were a horribly disappointing team this year. Butler, on the other hand, they have their coach leave early in the season. They promote the interim coach to the full-time job. They overcame such adversity, and they had such a great season. In this game, I think the Longhorns win. But does it really matter? Because Notre Dame awaits them, and the Irish aren't losing to either one of these teams. 7-10 meaning Wichita State and Indiana. Listen, the shockers that you're going to see here, these are not the shockers from last year, okay? This is a Wichita State team that lost in its conference tournament to Illinois State. A Wichita State team that last played on March 7th. Indiana has the offense. Indiana's going to run up and down the floor. Wichita State's going to be more than willing to run up the floor with them. And I think that Wichita State goes down, and I think Indiana, the lower seed, is going to take care of business in that one. Now, we swing out to the West. I think perhaps one of the most interesting pairings here is the 8-9 game between Oregon and Oklahoma State. You have a Ducks team that really finished with a flourish, taking on an Oklahoma State team that had some big wins this season in a very tough conference, but you never know what you got day-to-day with the Cowboys. I think the Ducks get the job done. Here's a little bit of an upset for you. The 6-11 meeting between Xavier and BYU. Now, the Musketeers did advance to the Big East Championship game before losing to Villanova, okay? But I'm not impressed with the Musketeers, especially when you take them out of Cincinnati. BYU, this team went to Gonzaga and won, okay? They played Gonzaga again for the championship of their tournament. They lost, but they hung close for most of that game. Obviously, I like them in the play-in game against Mississippi, and I think BYU advances and pulls the upset here. Just love the BYU balance in terms of their scoring. Finally, you got VCU and Ohio State. Damn interesting matchup in that one. You got a VCU team that obviously finished very strong. The Rams, who I used on Sunday as my best bet in the championship game against Dayton, didn't have that mojo after losing their starting point guard Weber in late January. But they suddenly recaptured it here in the tournament. Double revenge. They took care of business against Richmond. Big time revenge after getting blown out of Davidson. They blew out Davidson in the semifinals of the A-10 tournament. And then, of course, they dispatched Dayton in the title game. Ohio State laid an egg at home 2 Sundays ago to Wisconsin. Got humiliated. Laid another egg in the tournament. I got to go against the Buckeyes. I'm going to take the higher seed and go with number 7 VCU. Now we swing out to the East. Interesting 8-9 matchup in Pittsburgh, NC State and LSU. You had a Wolfpack team that finished very strong with a couple of big upset wins. Remember, on the road against Louisville and Duke, hammered by Duke in the ACC tournament in revenge. But let's not quickly write off NC State. I think the Wolfpack won 7 of their final 9 games, including postseason action. Meanwhile, you have an LSU team. You know, I was ready to get on the Tigers bandwagon when they went to Morgantown and beat West Virginia earlier this season, but you never know what you get with this team. I will take the higher seed with the 3-guard lineup. I think that plays to their benefit here. And I think they're going to give Villanova in the next round a very interesting matchup as well before being disposed of. The number 6-11 game. Providence and Boise State. Boise State is one of those teams that's on the Cinderella card, as I like to call it, because listen, Boise had no realistic expectations to even get offered a tournament seed after winning 15 out of 16 games, losing to Wyoming in the Mountain West Championship semifinals. Obviously, I like Boise State, believe it or not, to beat Dayton in the play-in game on Dayton's own home floor. I just think that they are the better team. I just never was impressed with the Flyers all season long. Providence, coming from the Big East, a better league, obviously. I'm going to go in this particular game. You know, I think you could probably, you probably flip the coin here between Boise State and Providence. And I'm just looking here at my own bracket just to double check. Yes, I did go with the Broncos in this game. But again, I think it could go either way. But it's a first-round game. Who the hell cares? We go to the South, where the tournament committee showed they had no common sense, but they had at least a sense of humor. I say they had no common sense because I don't understand how UCLA is in the field and Temple doesn't make the field. That's right. They said the Bruins passed the eye test. Obviously, they were wearing an eye patch on one eye. I don't see it. Don't see it at all. I mean, I'm looking at the Temple Owls team here. Yes, did they lose to SMU in the semifinals of their tournament? Yes, they did. And SMU eventually went on and won it and completed a 3-0 sweep against Temple this season. But, you know, if you take out the Owls' 3 games where they lost successively when their starting point guard Will Cummings was hurt, they had a hell of a season and they beat the hell out of Kansas as well. But they can't make the dance. Go figure. But in the South, they do show that sense of humor because you have a potential Duke St. John's rematch in round number 2. In the 6-11 game, you have UCLA and SMU, Larry Brown, against one of his many, many ex-teams, the Bruins. By the way, SMU will take care of business here against Steve Alford's team. And then you have the 7-10 matchup, Iowa and Davidson. You know how much money I made for you and for myself on Davidson this season. Interesting game. I look at Iowa and I'm going, who did Iowa play in the Big Ten where they faced an offense that just fires up the ball as frequently as Davidson did? Well, Indiana would be the first team to come to mind. And then I go back to their non-conference schedule, and I see that game when they had Iowa State, and they lost that game 90-75 because of the pace that the Cyclones play. I give Davidson a shooter's chance in this game, but again, it doesn't matter because the winner plays Gonzaga, and they're going home. One and done. See you later. Now, moving on to the tournament. As you can see, I have Kentucky advancing in the Midwest, taking on Notre Dame, beating Notre Dame. And the bottom half in the West Regional, I have Arkansas. Yes, Arkansas, moving past Wisconsin. Listen, if Wisconsin had their starting guard Jackson at this point of the season, I'd like Wisconsin. But I think Arkansas actually can pull the upset here. Anybody that impressed with the fact that Wisconsin had to overcome, the double-digit deficit to win and then miraculously cover on Sunday in the Big Ten championship game against Michigan State? I mean, that was not an impressive win for me. So I have Arkansas advancing to take on Arizona, and then I have Arizona advancing out of that bracket. Continuing on the left side of the bracket, Kentucky and Arizona. I just don't think Kentucky's going to go undefeated and win the whole thing. I know everybody's penciling them in, and you hear people talking about, could this be one of the greatest basketball teams of all time? Are you serious? Seriously? Let's talk about some of the great Duke teams. Let's talk about, oh my God. I mean, let's go back to the 60s and take, any one of John Wooden's UCLA championship teams. Any of them. They all win. Let's take the Houston team that lost with Akeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. They probably beat Kentucky. That's what I really believe, guys. That's the bottom line. Kentucky is a team with a lot of great components, but have they been tested? I think they will against Arizona, a team that doesn't have Kentucky's depth, but they have size and they have athleticism. They have a decent backcourt. I just think it's a prime for an upset. So I'm going to go with Arizona here to advance to the championship game. On the right side of your bracket, then, of course, over in the East, I have Villanova eventually meeting Virginia, and I have Villanova winning that game. Although, I'll be honest with you, I do think that Virginia is going to advance through, beating Michigan State, beating Oklahoma. I think Virginia, as Justin Anderson gets healthier, remember he missed all those games because of a broken finger, then an emergency appendectomy, second leading scorer, their best outside shooter, is hitting 42% of his shots. I think that his return to health only bolsters the Cavaliers' chances here. So again, I think Virginia and Villanova, that's going to be an interesting matchup. Villanova, a very deep team, a team that also likes to grind you with that man-to-man defense, and yet people don't realize about Jay Wright's Wildcats. So I think that could be a very interesting game. I can see Villanova winning it. Then in the other part of in the South Regional, listen, I have Duke beating Utah. I have Gonzaga taking better care of business against Iowa State. Remember this is not the Gonzaga team that you are accustomed to seeing at this time of year. This is the most athletic team that Mark Hughes has been able to field. He's got the two big guys up front that can also give Duke's front line a battle. If it's Duke Gonzaga, I wouldn't be surprised if Gonzaga wins. I do think Duke will advance. I mean, I think it would be kind of cool to see Gonzaga play Arizona again, since they lost that 3-point game for their first loss of the season in Tucson. But I do believe it's going to be Arizona and Duke, and then I like Arizona. Yes, I like Arizona. So what does this all mean? It means absolutely no more than the piece of paper that I scribbled this on. That's what it all means. Listen, this is fun stuff. If you're going to spend hours going over this stuff, you're crazy. The real money is to be made on a 50-50 betting proposition. This, to me, is like my wife going and saying that she's going to win money playing video poker. Oh, yeah, the odds are stacked against you there, too. But anyway, I do think that my advice is good. We'll see how it does. And again, you are welcome to go ahead and download the brackets in PDF form of all the other handicappers. They will be up there as the week progresses, and stay up there until Thursday's action gets underway. Good luck, everybody, and I'll catch you again on my daily video report, where, as you know, I come out of Sunday's action only having won 15 out of 18 plays. Good thing this is the end of the video because I'm losing my voice. Good luck, everybody, and I'll catch you again on the daily video.